Good afternoon. Last Friday, my classmates all read the rough drafts of their senior speech to each other. And I bet they thought that I had simply ignored the assignment because, like pretty much every senior at this school, I have senioritis. Strangely, that was not the case. The previous Thursday, I was writing my speech about my mom, and I panicked, thinking there was no way I would be able to talk about this. I've really only talked about her with a couple people. However, after listening to their stories about people close to them, alive and past, they touched me and gave me the motivation to talk about something I have very rarely discussed. Last year, my mother, Dorothy Iacoca, passed away from a brain tumor, also known as brain cancer. Now I'm going to share with you her story, one that few at this school know of. 14 years ago, when I was 5 years old, my mom was diagnosed with her first brain tumor. At the time, I was unaware of what was going on. The tumor was labeled as benign, meaning there was nothing to worry about. Because of this, my parents felt that there was no reason to tell me. A 5-year-old with 3 older brothers? My mom didn't seem any different to me. She was still the kind-hearted and loving person she was before. Time went on, and she developed 2 more tumors over the course of 10 years. Once in 2002, and then again in 2007. By this time, I was 14. Now I was able to comprehend what was going on. I was told how she had been fighting cancer for a long time. I panicked, as any mom's boy would. Now knowing what cancer was, and how scary it sounded and looked, I became confused. Why is she not worried? Why does she not seem fazed by this terrible disease? And then I came to realize how strong and selfless my mother really was. Everyone I knew was worried except her. She went to have her 3rd brain surgery that year. When she returned, we all gave her a hug, and everyone couldn't have been happier. She seemed stronger than ever, and the doctor said that the cancer wouldn't come back. This was reassuring after just going through one of the roughest months of my life. Now we could go on with our lives and live as a normal family. My mom had annual checkups with her neurologist, and each time things looked better and better, until the summer of 2010. One day in August, my parents took their trip up to Boston to see Dr. Black, so he could examine her brain. Not thinking twice about how she was doing, when they returned, I simply asked, "Oh, how was it?" And they both said, "It was fine," and I carried on with my day. Although I did notice they both seemed off, just a son's 6th sense. The next day, we had a family dinner, and we ordered Chinese food for everyone. My mom loved Chinese food. At the end of the meal, when people were washing their plates, my dad called us all to sit down. This is when I learned the worst news of my life. My mom had a 4th tumor, except this one was not benign. It was malignant. The doctors gave her around 3 months to live, and they said that was pushing it. When my dad told everyone this, no one could help but cry, except my mom. Being the selfless person she was, she knew she had to stay strong. We spent the remaining summer days as a family, never taking a moment with my mom for granted. As fall came, and all of us went away for school, she started to become worse. She couldn't put sentences together, and she didn't know where she was. Her body became weak, and we could tell her time was almost up. But she never gave up. At Blair, some of my teachers knew what my situation was. Others may have known she was just sick, but few knew she was terminally ill. Over that fall, I went home as much as possible and had many special moments with her. One I'll never forget was Payday Day at Blair. We won the football game and the cup. My mom made a special appearance. This meant a lot considering her condition. After the game, Coach Schoen gave me the game ball, which I then gave to her. Then came the weekend in December. This was far past her expected date. The day was December 5th, 2010. We were all in my parents' room with my mom as she lay in her bed. She began to fade, and we knew she was about to die. It was 3 in the afternoon, and she took one last look at everyone. She was gone. Everyone began to cry and hug each other. I couldn't take all the sadness. I went downstairs to get away from it, grabbed a cup of water, and broke down. I've never cried so hard in my life. It took this burst of emotion to reflect on how great of a person my mom was. She was strong, loving, selfless, kind, and a best friend. That was Dorothy Iacocca. Thank you for letting me share this with you.